Hi, and welcome to this month's Live the Call. We're honored to welcome our special guest, Terri Allen. Terry is a dedicated mindfulness facilitator and an award winning author with a passion for bringing mindfulness education to children worldwide. Alongside her husband, Terry founded the Angels of Light Children's Foundation in 2021, embodying her role as the child whisperer. I can't wait to hear more about that. Her compassionate approach empowers individuals to find their inner strength regardless of age. With experiences spanning the globe, Terry now calls Los Angeles, California home. And we're privileged to have her here today to share her insights. So welcome, Terry.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me and having me on here. It's a pleasure to be with everybody and to meet everyone. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. We're so glad to see you. And thank you so much for joining us. Today, I'd like to take a deep dive. I want to get to know Terry. I want the members to get to know Terry. We see you posting your videos and we see your beautiful photo. And this is the opportunity really for everyone in the community to get to know you a little bit, to learn about your work, to hear about your spiritual journey and your awakening. And I'd love to, learn how that led to the work that you're doing today. So also, you sent along these beautiful books. We're going to talk about them. They're amazing. I read both of them last night. I love the energy and the direction of them, Terry. They're amazing. So we're going to talk about these in detail in a
Thank
little while. And I may even read a little bit of them. I don't know. We'll see where that goes. Okay, so I'm going to hand the floor over to you for a little bit. If you could just introduce yourself a little bit, give us a little bit of background about yourself, and then tell us about your personal spiritual journey and how it led to you becoming a mindfulness facilitator. And, specifically, like we want to really talk about the work you're doing with children and teens, but also adults. So welcome, Terry.
Thanks, darling. I'll try and keep that short, not being that young.
Okay.
I've got a lot of stuff that led me to where I am now. So I'm just going to try and pick out bits because it's quite a lot. But yeah, I think I've always been a very spiritual person. I think that came through my mother. Even though I was in a
Mm,
Catholic background, she was more into painting angels and fairies and, always seeing a healer or going somewhere here for a gypsy reading or something. So I think
mm,
the energy was always, the mystical world was already there through my mother, whereas my dad's side of the family was probably more the Catholicism, the prayer, which is good.
mm,
It brings in balance. So I think it's always been that mystical stuff within me. But I think it probably really got born. I was always into prayer, always going to do meditation, always going to pray. I lived in Hong Kong and Singapore for a while. So I used to go into all the Buddhist temples and to understand their religion. So I had a curiosity for everyone's religion. And I
mm,
liked to learn when I was out there. So I used to go to the temples a lot. In Singapore, there's a lot of Indian temples. There's a lot of many different Christian, religions there. And then when I got to Dubai, I'd say it probably really birthed out there. I think, landing back in Dubai a very long time ago, over 25 years ago, back then, there wasn't
mhm.
a lot of new age, uh, I don't want to say stuff, but new age, work.
Yeah,
And
there's a
so
different time.
I just felt it was a bit my soul was missing something. So then I started to, learn about crystal healing. I did an angel course, I did a meditation course. I did regression. It all started coming in, even though I was an international makeup artist. I was in the fashion and beauty industry. So it was sort of
Wow.
going line by line, so I always worked with women. And, making them feel good, look good, So I went from outside in really. And then, I did a lot of work on myself. I really started to dig deeper and deeper and deeper. And then I was divorcing in Dubai and decided to do like a massive deep healing on myself for about a year. So I had someone twice a week for a year. So that
And
really,
how long were you in Dubai? Like, how long was that
20
from
years.
when you were young and experiencing how wonderful was that for you to have
I was there,
those
yeah, I was there for
just
20 years. I
mhm,
got there when I was 30, and it was just, a big spiritual turning for me. That's when everything develops. That's when my spiritual side
mhm.
took off. I left my old work and then went into, they used to call me the angel lady in Dubai because I was the one that started with the Doreen Virtue angel therapy practitioner course way back then, when it was really done in tiny groups, and you had to do
Mhm.
your 30 readings and you had to get your certificate, and it wasn't done online, it was all done in Laguna Beach. So there was a lot of these modalities. So I was the first person to come up with a website in the Middle East called Angels of Light.
Wow.
And people were like, whoa, are you going to do that? And I said, well, yeah, like, because it
What do you
wasn't,
mean?
well, it wasn't around then. People were hiding. Now,
Mhm.
I just went along and I thought, I've got nothing to hide. I'm not a psychic tarot reader. I'm coming with a different energy, and angels are in the Quran. So that just birthed me into a whole different world, working with different nationalities, local people, Indian people, all people. We took them on retreats. So it got birthed from there. The lack of, back then for me, they're obviously a Muslim country and I respect that, but it was just there was some lack of spiritual connection that really pushed me to really awaken, probably I'd say,
Mhm.
awoken me to a whole different person. So
Wow.
now they're very different. There's a lot of well-being, a lot of healing, a lot of different things, but back then there was nothing. It wasn't like it was today.
Yeah, even everywhere in the world, it was different than it is today.
No, but Dubai had nothing really there. Like, it was
Nothing.
not really. A couple of hotels. It was like, where are you? You used to, if you're trying to get to your house, there'd be like a dirt, you'd have a road and then there'd be no road to the house. I'm like, how do people get there? Like, after coming from Singapore and Asia, which was very advanced, it was just a whole different
Mhm.
cosmopolitan world. Back then, they've caught up a lot in that length of time. It was really backward. It just was. And so, but it pushed me in a spiritual way. And we formed a really good community. Like, we really had great people that had lived there from the beginning, people that had been there a long time. We call them the real old Dubai people. And we just used to have groups and meditations and workshops. It was actually really full on. But it was, an amazing experience. But then as I went along, I got divorced, obviously, healed that relationship, and then met my husband. So it was really born with my second husband. My healing was through my first, and then born with my second. And then as we went along, people started to bring me their children and teenagers, and that's how Terri Allen came about. I actually took the name. It's funny, I took over two websites. So my makeup artist international name was Terri Allen. So I took over the same name but created the mindfulness under Terri Allen. So, empowering women, families, and then people were bringing me their children. And then I started to study holistic educational therapy and coaching and counseling for all ages. And then UCLA when I got here for 2 years for the mindfulness facilitator. But it all birthed, the books birthed out of there, nature birthed out of there. I think because there was a lack of nature, the lack of I
Mhm.
don't know, it just catapulted me. So it's interesting when you are in one of those situations where you think, I don't want to be here, your back is up against the wall, but actually it births you into a butterfly, it births you
Mhm.
into something else. So I'd say it was a place where I got reborn and just awakened to a whole different level, which has changed my life and formed my life. So it was really important to be there. And, I ended up loving it. But then,
Yeah.
you have your cycle and you're done, but everything started out from there. But then the foundation got born, Children's Foundation got born here, really.
Well, as I was looking at these books, I was thinking I'm just getting to know you. We've met and talked, and I'm seeing your work and finding, what you're doing and looking at your stuff online. But these books are so incredibly creative. It's the way they're written, the way that the artwork is, and we're going to look at them in a little while. That I thought to myself, she's a creative. Like, has she always been in that creative space? And there you are, you're telling me that you were an international makeup artist, and you have a creative energy about you. So it's so fascinating that you were doing that work globally, creatively, and just what you said, it shifted a complete dynamic to a different way of working, and but sort of working with the same sorts of people, and then it migrates into children. So, but how did you get inspired to create? I guess we should start with the Angels of Light Children's Foundation, because that was birthed first, and then
Yeah,
the
well,
books.
I was doing, Terri Allen mindfulness. So I was doing that. And Angels of Light was actually in Dubai, was actually a spiritual website. So it had
Mm,
angels. I've got a crystal bed. We did regression, we did meditations, we had groups, we had retreats. It was a big setup. We did hotels, we did International Angel Day in the Hyatt hotels. I mean, it was big. And I did that for a long time. But then at some point, you just know, if you're tuned into yourself, that you're meant to be doing something bigger in a different way. And I don't mean that horribly, because I loved what I was doing, but I was just feeling there was a lack of something that I
mhm,
needed extra. And that's when it was brought to me, people bringing me their children and their teenagers. And the person that co-wrote the books with me actually was also looking for children to do it, and we did the same course. And that's how the books evolved. And also, through the books, I always did meditations, taking people into their mindful gardens in the Middle East because of the lack of
mm,
nature. So that's where I
mhm.
took everyone, but it seemed to have a magical experience for them.
Yeah, it's
Something
beautiful.
happened in that simple meditation, that
Mhm,
I use, and I still use to this day. Something happens. Do I know what it is? No. Maybe it's a connection where they're taking them into your magical garden belongs in your mind, but also in your heart. So when you go in, maybe you've never been there, maybe you don't know it's there, but your garden, your soul garden, I call it, lives and resides within you. It's a place where you go to access your emotions, how you're feeling, but tune into your higher self, to tune into everything around you, and it just to cleanse and realign if it's done properly, if the meditation's done properly, and the person's carrying, I think, the right energy, because that's everybody. um and there was just something that changed in everyone's lives, and they would come back and tell me, I just thought I was doing my normal thing, and something clicked. If I didn't do that meditation with my sessions, it wasn't the same. So it's
mm.
definitely the mind, it's definitely the brain, something clicking with the heart. Oh, hold on a sec, I know where this is, and I think we all come from that place before we come down. um and that's when I thought, let's put it into children's books. Let's put the nature in there. Let's weave the nature back in, because I think the light gets dulled, or we get disconnected in some way, and we forget that magic is in there. and to tap into it and to use it brings something magical out. That's what I've noticed over
Yeah,
15 years. This is me
yeah.
observing other people. I know what it did for me, but that's me. But observing different age groups, different nationalities, different, can't be all the same people.
Mhm.
So it was definitely, nature is very, very, very magical.
It is, and to say magical is everything, you know, young, old. Your imagination doesn't have boundaries of age, right? So to talk about this, I love the phrase "the soul garden." That's beautiful, because that, as an artist, that gives me this visualization of you're tending to your garden, is your garden blooming, is like, all the parallels that you could have in that space. But young children who are in wonderment, who are in amazement, who have can tap into imagination effortlessly, they're there all the time. We started out that way, and so to be able to tap into that as an adult, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful way to go right into that soul garden through the imagination. I love that.
Well, also they get the answers and the messages they were looking for so
Mm,
easily, because also I bring their angel guide in, or I bring, it depends who
mm,
I'm dealing with, but I do like to do that. And they just instantly get a lot of message, but also because of the way that I do the meditation, they get a cleansing and realigning during that time. And that's the children and teenagers also. It's not just the adults. It just seems to be everyone.
mhm.
And it is a place where your soul is from. It does remember, and everyone's is different. That's why when you get children to draw them, they're all different because we're all unique. We all have our own soul garden within us, and it's allowing them to express and share that. And that's where the art therapy probably comes in, because that's what I'm an art therapist as well. So it's allowing children to explore and keep that magic that's inside of them alive. And I always remember that film, The Golden Compass. I didn't quite get it at the time when they cut the totem off the child. That's actually your connectivity of your soul connection to spirit, whereas the child is being dumbed down to the point of not realizing that soul connection with everything, and they go to sleep. And so that's why taking these tools and books into every educational school or center is so important, because it's not just the child that gets awakened, the parent gets awakened doing the books with them, or the carers, or the adoptions, whoever the therapist, whoever's using them. This isn't just for kids. These books are for all ages, all the way up. I've had a group of from the gay community take these books and take them into their circles to help them get back to their inner child and to share and to connect.
Beautiful.
So it's not just for children. These books have gone on their own organic way and reached the Down syndrome community, the autistic community. I don't like labels, but it just reaches all different I'm going to call them rainbow communities, because that's more my thing, and that's what, there's something in them and to do with nature that ignites something and remembers where they're from. And I remember, if anyone's watched the film The Shack, has anybody watched the film The Shack?
Oh, yes, I just watched it again last year.
Well, if you remember,
man.
God takes him into that garden that's a mess. And he goes, "What's this?" And he goes, "That's you. Let's tidy it up." So for children, it's already beautiful. It's keeping it beautiful, and it's keeping it magical, and it's giving them the tools to know you have a choice what you put in and what you don't. That's your mind. That's like Abraham Hicks. That's like you're calling into your matrix. What are you building? What are you putting in there? Not what the news or the media or anyone's, putting in there for you. And that's why adults and teenagers can be a little bit more different, because we're absorbing stuff all the time. But if you get them to know from a young age to go to that safe place, to work with that place, to bring nature into everything, they have a different mindset. They have a whole different
Imagine.
But they have a respect of Mother Nature. I know everyone's saying climate change, but what is that? Just, I'm trying to be mindful with my words.
No, but it's true, and I can relate, and I think we all have the same ideas. We're wondering.
Let's get children connected with nature to respect and love everything living on this planet, because then there's an understanding more from children of how they're treating everything and everyone. That's when you will see Mother Nature
absolutely
reflect that straight back.
I can tell you right now, Nicole in Awakening Mass Meditation, she's on mute, and I know she's on the other side going, hallelujah, yes. She just wrote, yes. But, you and I spoke about this, and we don't have to dive too deeply into this, but our children are under attack. They are under attack. There's a mass attack happening to our children right now. So imagine if they were given the tools, if they had the opportunity to learn in that way, integrated and connected to nature, and different ways of thinking that aren't just fed to them, it would be an amazing origination for them to start their experience on planet Earth.
But that's why we work as a community. It's not just the children, it's the parents, it's the teachers, it's the educators, it's the whole people, it's everyone, for them to bring it into the mindfulness, into their curriculum. It's going to change communities. It will change lives, because you can't have a child be on it and the parents not, because then the child is going to be bouncing. It's going to be very difficult for them to keep that up. But, it's a way, people do fling mindfulness around quite easily. They do chuck it, I'm a mindfulness, I'm chucking it all. No, mindfulness is very deep. It's very unpacking. It's very inner child work. It's very, like I had on a young boy on my podcast called A Voice for Children. you know, I did share it on your site as well, when he shared that, you know, he's observing himself all the time. He's the third person as well as on the stage, writer, actor, observing, director. You know, it's if you teach children this, teenagers or parents, anyone, our whole world would be very different. You know, that self-awareness. But because we use it through nature, and because it's easier to access, and it just flicks something instantly. And I found it's not, it is nature in a big way, but used in a special way. I think, you know, it's when you love it and you embody it, I think it's that Mother Nature knows, and then she'll bring it through. She'll bring the magic
She
through.
will.
Yeah, for sure.
We need to put this needs to, there's two of them too. We need to put them in the resource library for sure. But the thing that's so cool, when I opened it, and it says how to use the book. So you have a key in the back, and you know that just depending on the choices that the child makes to navigate through this discovery and using their imagination, you can you explain that? It helps them navigate the feelings. It helps the parent understand what the child is experiencing. It's really interesting.
Yeah, so, you know, you go through the garden, you start to, you know, build your garden in your imagination. So as you're going to make choices on every page. So it's really interactive. Both books are interactive. But the garden is your seed of your mind. The tree, well, it's you. You are the tree of life. So, but we don't put that, otherwise I wouldn't be getting into schools. So, you know, you've got your seed of your mind. So, yeah. And you get them to build it and create it. And then you write down everything the child has chosen, but it's all interactive throughout the entire book. And then you write down, it tells you in the appendix what emotionally is going on with mom, dad, child, teenager, as a family. It will tell you exactly what's emotionally going on with that child. And how to bring them back into balance through wellness. Everything in there is holistic or wellness. It's not outside the box of where we're coming from. So it might mean that the child needs less time on technology, more time in nature, more mindfulness activities, more art, blah, blah, blah. But you'll find there'll be a theme. And then the tree book is very specific. It gets very specific to that child, which I've used with my son growing up, onto really what's going on. Sometimes it can be the simplest of things that they think it's something really major, and it can be something so bloody simple. And the book allows them to notify that, you know, to see it. And both books come with a downloaded meditation, so they can use it at night and go to sleep. But also a child can sit there with themselves after a certain age, if they're reading well, 8 or 9 years of age, sit and read on themselves.
Go through it themselves.
Yeah, how am I feeling? What am I feeling off? What am I lacking? Let me just have a check in here. You know, it's good for mom and dad, whoever's with them, to do it as well, because it really opens up a form of communication when people aren't that communicative. You know, some families don't communicate.
I wish I had it. I thought that last evening when I was reading it. I wish I had it for my indigo child, for my youngest, who had so much emotion all the time. She still is trying to navigate through emotion first, emotion first, emotion first. And it's it would have been a really valuable tool, I feel like. And you know, she's 18 now, so I'm not sure how she would feel about utilizing this book. But when she was little, totally, I could have worked with her.
You know what? I would definitely, you know, I've had a friend of mine, her parents were visiting from Tennessee, and they were in their 60s, and they sent me a video and picture of them all using them. So I would,
that's excellent.
Give it a go. You know, it's you're feeding your inner child, and it just makes you think. And you know, even the garden meditation, and you know, we have many meditations. I have many meditations that I do, but you know, it's just, and that garden reflects everything back to you when you do a meditation in your garden. It might bring an animal into your garden. You know, this is for adults now, teenagers. There might be something new in there, and you think, oh, what's that? Well, then look it up when you get out the meditation. What is my intuition trying to tell me? What are my guides trying to tell me? Why is that specific animal that I have no connection to in my garden? Look it up. It's shamanism. Everything has a meaning. You might have a different tree. That garden is going to evolve as you evolve, and it will show you things in there I know when I'm off balance. I know by just going in there what I need. We also do an inner child chakra healing with children and teenagers and parents, whereas you go into each chakra and see what's going on. And it's amazing. And we don't follow the colors of the chakra. We don't do that.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and that came about when I did a child once, and I said, now you're going to see red. This was in Dubai, it was a long time ago. I'm going to put red. I don't want to put red. And I thought, yeah,
Okay.
she's right.
What color are
So,
you seeing?
so actually the child was going with it. I don't want to put that in there. This is what I've got. This is the image I've got. This is the message I've got. So you read and reprogram your energy and also your chakras, but you also, by going into your chakras, which is called inner child healing for adults, you can then see what's going on in that chakra and talk to it and bring your inner self, your younger self in there, and then reprogram it, set it, release it. Makes a huge difference.
It does.
It's a very powerful technique, but it's really
Absolutely.
great. And the kids are great because they just skip through it,
Yeah.
not
And I'll
like
tell you, like I did
adults.
I did a shamanic session this weekend, and she brought me. We were going to do she's going to hypnotize me, and she brought me into a beautiful garden. I had visualized the garden. She told me where I was walking, what did I see, and I mean, it is shamanism. Like, I'm
Yeah,
just
it is.
curious, Madeline, have you ever heard of anything like this before in regards to the garden or meditating, the soul garden? I'd just like to hear from you, see if anything like that is resonating.
No, actually, I haven't really heard of anything really like that. Besides like maybe social media things that say like, make sure you like water yourself and like memes kind of stuff like that, like self-care
Take
thing.
care of your. Hmm.
Yeah. But I like the idea of like visualizing like your inner garden and what would come up and what would I feel like that is like a really good way to like sense like where you're at in the moment because your imagination will take over and you'll see things and stuff and you'll be like, oh, like that's what's going on in my garden, you know? Wonder
It's
why.
cool. And yeah. And these are the tools that we have in the portal. So I'm going to post, Terry, I was on your YouTube channel. I would love maybe if you can send me, if you have a link to maybe a garden meditation or something, and I can
Yeah, yeah,
share it with
sure.
the community. That would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I want to ask you a question. How did you get the child whisperer name? Did that just come about because of
That
this
wasn't
work?
me. No, I didn't have it. It was I didn't think it. It was through a gentleman called Brian who was lived in Laguna, but then moved to Texas, as they all do. Brian, and he moved there with his beautiful wife that's no longer with us, who was my dear friend, and his children. And I was working with his children for a while their mother wasn't very well. She passed away.
Mhm.
But he had me work with them for a year on and off. And he was the person who says, the children love you, but there's something that you have. And he said, you're the child whisperer because there's something that you have that they know you have, but you might not
Mhm.
even know you have, but there's just something in there. So then I started to think about it. And I thought it's interesting when I work with children and teens, I normally do them in group set, see them like 4 sessions. And people say, why 4? Because they're done on the 4th. They're done.
Wow.
They're out. They're flying. And they went 4. Normally on the 3rd, but 4th is about the one where I like to check in. But yeah, there's a quick turnaround. And I just know instantly, probably that's
Mhm.
what it means, the child whisperer is my intuition with children. I just get them on the word go. I just know exactly what's going on very fast. Better than with
That's
adults.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I used to say when I was a kid, and when I waitressed for many years, I used to say that I tapped into adults better than I did children. It's you just have this sense where you can connect in with them so easily. You're like
Yeah.
an angel to them,
And
sort
I
of.
think also just to put them on the right road and to give them tools, but for them to remember why they are here,
Mhm.
what they are here for. And I see them probably for them, There's no labels on. I'm not, you know, your family can put a lot of culture labels. We're not blaming
That's
now,
true.
we're not judging, but you do come with the package of where you're from. And on top of that, some people come from very stressful areas, you know. Depends on the community, the religion, blah, blah, blah. Then you got your family stuff. And I'm not interested in any of that. I always say to them, don't tell me much. I know what's going on with the child. You know, this is what's going on, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I don't want to hear the rest. Let me see and go into that child for who they are and let them present. And then they present themselves to me. And it's like the opposite of what the parent needs. So then you have to unpack.
Right.
And then the parent has to change their mindset of how they're looking at the child. But they get it because
really
I'm quite
is.
direct. I don't sugarcoat.
That's also a gift, right? The parents hear you as well. You can't sugarcoat it. You know?
Yeah, you can't sugarcoat it. And they normally, you know, thank God, touch wood, you know, have been very good. I have to say, and this isn't any reflection on Tim or the men out there. The dads take the most offense.
Well, because they're in that masculine energy, leading and all of that.
It's only a few, but the rest are like, oh no, that's not us. Like they're really going on the push out, you know, whereas the mothers are like, oh, okay, yeah, they're more easy to move. You know, there's been a few dads that are flexible like that, but it's interesting. It's interesting.
It is interesting. All of it is interesting.
And that's not just here, that's everywhere that I've worked.
Everywhere.
Yeah, they're all, you know, people say to me, oh, but you've worked in these countries. You know, I've done lots of different cultures, but down to it, we're all the same. We all want the same thing. We all want the same thing. It's the same thing. You know.
I wanted to ask you how your podcast started, because the foundation was 2021, and you know this all evolved, and then the most recent work, I guess, is the podcast work.
Well, no, actually,
you've been posting.
The podcast was born in 2020. So what happened was,
okay,
I hadn't been here that long. I was working in the schools and stuff, but also teaching meditation. I was working at Agape. I was with the kids there. So I was doing my spiritual work and the children's stuff. So I was doing both. And what happened was, there were 2020 hit, and like everyone else, you sort of knew, okay, something's coming, but then you thought, what the hell is this? Like, and it was a friend that somebody I was introduced to who has the Archangel Tree Foundation. So he died, went to heaven. They sent him back down. He's to save the redwoods. He's very well known. I was introduced to him just before lockdown. He called me out the blue one day because he loved my books, because the tree book, blah, blah, blah. And we've been in the pandemic, you know, it was meant to be 2 weeks. I think it went on for 3 or 4, 6 weeks, something like that. And he rang me up, and he never rings me up after then much, you know. Hey, how you doing? And particularly that day, I wasn't doing good. I was really down. He said, what are you doing? I went, nothing really, you know, going for walks, blah, blah, blah. I'm asking you, what are you doing? And he's a lot older, so he's in his 70s. So you're like, oh, okay. You know.
Yeah, I hear you.
And I went, what do you mean? He said, well, what do you do with your angels? What are you doing for the planet? Like, what have you set up? What are you doing? And I was like, whoa. Right. So he was sent to slap me. And because I've always had a community. So what I did was I put a call out, a message out to all the people that I knew from around the world, from Dubai, that had moved around the world, and here, formed a meditation. So every Friday, we did a meditation for 1 hour that I channeled for 2 years. Wow. Every Friday for 2 years, but the group came on from all over to spread light and the web around the world. And it was channeled every week. Everything was Mother Nature, never knew what was coming. And it was a very profound time. And it was in a very strong group of people. These were mature people. These were people that were with me a long time, that left Dubai and moved off around the world. So, you know, and then as I was doing that, it then came in that podcast you need in a meditation just came in. You need to do a podcast called The Magic and Miracles. You need to lift people's spirits. They've got to know, they tap in, they've got to wake up, they've got to listen to people's stories, they've got to keep the magic, got to keep the light on, blah, 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 blah. So it just landed. Like, my husband spoke to a friend that he knew from Dubai, who now lives in Canada. He helped us set it all up. We got going and we got interviewing people, and David was one of them from the Archangel Tree, which I'll share it actually on the site. I haven't shared them.
Yes, would
His
love that. story's
amazing.
I want to hear it.
Archangel Michael kicks him out, back down. You know, he's amazing, amazing, amazing story. And he's a very unusual person and very intuitive man. He, you know, so we started interviewing people from around the world, sharing it to everyone to lift, and it ended up reaching 30,000 people today worldwide. But only this year I got the message. I always know when something's going. I can feel a bit of an alignment drop. And I'm like, okay, the podcast's dropping, the quality's not as well. I need to assess myself, what's coming in, what am I not honoring? And that's when I got a voice for children. But I stuck it under the Magic of Miracles, because we've got such a good following that if I had to start again, I'm going to have to start again from scratch.
Have to start from scratch. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I'm giving the voice to children, but I really want to get some kids on there that want to share their magical stuff. But I'm, you know, so I'm going with it. I'm letting them lead, and let's see. So far we've had 3 on, 2 from California, but one's half Chile and the others were from Lebanon. And I've got another girl that's coming on that's written a sustainability book about Mother Nature. So that's really nice. But we need more boys. We need boys. We need you again. You know, on the last podcast that we had him on, I shared on your site as well, you know, asking him what's going on with the boys. Why are they not talking? Even my son, he's 13 and a half. I said, will you come on? No. And that was pretty, for me, that's, you know, we have a crystal bed. We're always angels everywhere. There's spiritual stuff everywhere. And he goes, no. Like, what the hell? And I just thought, I have to honor, he doesn't want to do it. And that's it. He says to me, well, what do I have to talk about? No. Funny.
You could be a podcast star.
My friends whose children are boys as well, no, won't do it. So we got Joseph, who said, yeah, I'll do it, that I met in Topanga, you know, not long ago during the lockdown, and we just clicked with his mom. So, you know, that came into a meditation as Joseph, and he came on and he was phenomenal. He's great.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You're going to find more. You are going to find more, because this feels so in alignment. Yeah.
He's so smart. Yeah.
It's amazing.
So many people, I think the most people in all of our podcasts listen to him.
Wow.
Yeah, you got to listen to it. He's smart. Like, I had to be on.
He's the host. He's your new host.
He was on the electric cars. Everyone has to listen to it. Oh my God, he was phenomenal. And he had a message for Elon Musk. I mean, he was calling him out, like, about the electric cars, because they're not echo at all.
Wow. No, they're not.
No,
this is like a whole new movement.
Yeah, it's a whole new movement, and to keep these teenagers and these younger people awake is the only way our planet's going to change. You know, my age and probably a bit older, I don't want to knock everybody off, but yeah, I don't think it's happening, you know. But we have to open the gate. The ones that
we do
have to open the gate for the younger ones and keep them there. And I think more parents are waking up, off the grid, off the land, blah, 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 homeschooling. Because he talked about the myth of homeschooling. And so that went off the charts. And that means there's more people wanting homeschooling. So I heard the other day that was actually interviewed, someone was interviewing Trump, and I'm not into politics, I'm just saying what I heard. So he's going to put a lot of money into homeschooling because there isn't helping those parents, because apparently shot up to 48%. That's huge of America, yeah? I think he shared that interview with Megyn Kelly, but it's a good one to listen about. Oh, no, maybe he shared it with someone else. Anyway, don't know. Anyway, so... well,
Nicole is saying, absolutely, Nicole is saying she's agreeing with all of this.
I didn't realize till he said it, that how the homeschooling had jumped. So when they listened to Joseph's interview about the myths of it, it was like, whoa, you know, so it does align. There's been a massive shift and no one's talking about it and no one's thinking about it. But
No,
that
but
means
there
the parents
have been,
are
the
nurturing
kids have
their
been
children.
protesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, they've
it's
been
good.
protesting in schools,
So
and
it's
they've
good
been,
that the parents have woken up to protect. Hold on a sec. Whoa, it's great. So when I heard that, I thought, this is good. Movement.
well, I'm all for them, expressing themselves. They have new ideas. They have new ways of approaching the future. It's their future. I mean, I'm 53. I'm going to be around for a while, but they're up and coming, and they're looking at the planet and everything in a new way. If they're able to, and it's your books and the platforms you're giving them and everything. I just want to support you so much. I feel very drawn to support you and to share, the connections that I have with you. And because the children really do, mine are grown now. And I've said, mine are both in college. One's 21, one's 18. I have said recently in the past 6 months, I don't know if I could have handled it if I was raising them young now. It's a different world. It's harder.
It is very, when we came here, I've been navigating my son around, he was homeschooled for 2 years. He went into a very tiny Waldorf school, which only had about 80 kids, 90 kids. It was lovely, which gave a very good foundation. I'm not saying they're all the same, because they're not. And a lot of them have fell by the wayside now because they didn't get the funding and the government's moved in. So I had to pull him out of them. So, but I'm still a believer in what they were teaching. I thought it was giving him a really good foundation and balance. So I have a lot of respect for Rudolf Steiner. But, then we homeschooled him, and now he's in a very tiny hidden school here in Malibu, which is it is Catholic, like we discussed the other week, but it's not my Catholic school. Otherwise he wouldn't be in it. But it's very, there's children of all religions, and it's just when you go in there, it's built on a vortex that's very old, because they showed old pictures of the nuns there. It's very old, and you can just feel the energy that the children are cocooned in. So it's not got many, like there's only 8 kids in my son's class. So it's nurturing that navigation all the time, and it's bloody hard. I mean, it was hard enough coming here from Dubai to here, looking at the schools, which are completely different looking to English schools. They just can, some of them you just think, oh, no, thank you. And that makes me sad. That makes me sad to think it's a big school. It just looks like a prison. Sorry. I know you're all going to think, oh, but and, not all, but a lot. And it's not the way kids should be educated. Pack them and stack them and get them out, Yeah, no. And so for me, new schools need to be birthed. This is a call out to all the rich billionaires or businessmen. Open your pockets, get small enrichment schools going, and get these kids to plant food, back to the land, connect to everything, be entrepreneurs, know why they're here, and educate them differently. That's when everything's going to change.
Everybody's going, yeah.
I
can hear them now. Yeah.
In nature, in an environment that brings out everything in them, and that has to be a nice school that's nature-based. Or
and Nicole, she's in Colorado, and she's she's trying to wake up the planet and balance the planet, and she has a mission every month. She does a mass meditation. She's doing it this Sunday. I'm going to talk about that later, but she's going 100% absolutely, like she's putting all these emojis in the chat. She's just saying thank you too. We all are, because every one of us, we're trying to do our best to awaken
it's great
people.
what you're doing also, Pamela, that more people that build a community. No point, this is yours, this is mine, blah blah blah, this is gone. This is, if you're in that energy, you're in the 3D, you're not in the 5D. Here it's about sharing and caring and helping and building as a community, as one, because we all have a gift. And it's a tapestry that we all weave together into one beautiful tapestry. And that's giving the gift to children to know, why are you here? Why are you here? Why have you been sent down? There's a reason. You've not come to stand at a cash register. Nothing against cash registers. I've been one myself. But it's a filling gap while you're trying to think, okay, where am I going? Why are you here? What gifts are you bringing? What light are you bringing? Otherwise, you're not, that's what I think they should be learning as well.
These are the questions we're all still asking. Madeline and I were just talking. What is my purpose? What am I doing? what am I on the planet for? We're all doing it. And we're just trying, we're all trying to honor our spirit, and we're all trying to listen to the call, right? And do our best to support and nurture and
Exactly.
spread
And
love.
if anyone's listening, we do teach people, if they want to take our programs, we have programs donated from around the world for teenagers and children and parents. We have, it's even for teachers, this whole thing's big. If people are wanting to form a small school or want to take their group or want to educate and want to, then please reach out to us, because that's what our foundation's about. Is we train people in the UK, Dubai, Spain, and set them up, and they get going. And obviously you're going to add your own thing in, but it's not just me doing it. You have to have other people saying, oh yeah, I'm called to do this, train me. I'm going to be your representative here, but you're still going to do your own thing. Do you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
to me, it's not just me, because it's better if there's more people helping and doing it. It's just not going to work otherwise, So
no,
for me, it's like everyone's sharing and helping one another. Then we're going to change fast. This individual thing is not working. Yeah.
Nope. That's why we're all here today. Well, I want to ask anybody if they have any questions. Nicole, I know that you are, muted and you're ending your day. I just want to give you an opportunity if you wanted to say anything. I see your mic is not muted. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Terri, I absolutely resonate with everything you are creating and doing, and I'm just so thankful for the journey that you are on, bringing just awakening to starting as a child and the inner child. I'm really excited to get those books, and I was already just telling my wife I'm excited to read them and do them together, because it just sounds so fun. And honestly, it's like the new way of how to raise our children. Like, you're really paving the way in that. So thank you so much for just doing what you're doing. And yeah, I resonate and on a similar journey. So I'm excited to connect. Exciting times.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. No, I just love what I'm doing. It is my sole purpose. So I just don't see it as work. I just love it.
Yeah, we can feel that, resonate that out of your aura. You're just, you're meant for that. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Like a little angel. Anyone else?
Hey, Terri. I don't have a question. Nice to meet you. When you mentioned the garden, so I will just tell us a quick story. When I was born with a physical deformity, so I spent the first 15 years of my life in the hospital. And every night when my mother would leave at 6 o'clock, I would panic. And she would always say, the angels are around you. And I would go into what I called in my head, because I was usually flat on my back in a cast or in traction or something. There wasn't much I could do. And I would go into I used to call it the secret garden.
Oh.
And I went in, and it's how I kind of coped. So I think what you're doing is amazing. It's really an effective tool.
Well, I think that's lovely. Yes, the secret garden, your own garden, the magic garden, whatever you want to call it, as long as it's your garden. But actually, it's really good that your soul remembered that was the place you were going to go to. You remembered that's where you've come from, and for you to remember that, and that's really, really good that you had that. So
I don't know how I knew. I just did it because, but it was
maybe your angel just dropped it in there.
Yeah. Well, maybe. I think so. So I think it's amazing what you're doing, and kids definitely need that. They need the freedom to explore and find out who they are versus, listening to what external mom, dad, or whoever thinks they should be. So I love the work you're doing. It's amazing.
Thank you. And I think that's why it's important that, the voice for children is allowing them to talk. Like does anyone allow them? I mean, I wasn't allowed when growing up back in my day, but then I'm on the older days. But I don't know about today. I I allow my son. We can, we communicate, we discuss, but yeah, voice for children is like, let's hear what they want, because I think a lot of them are wiser.
They are. They're coming in different now.
So we got to listen. Yeah. So thank you,
we do.
That's lovely for you to share that.
Anyone else? Going once, twice? No?
Yeah, I wanted to say I think it's really cool that earlier today I was speaking with a friend who has an 11-year-old, and she was just like venting to me how they've really been like butting heads lately. And like she was just venting to me about being very upset about their relationship being, strained right now. And I was kind of like intuitively like telling her to ask like her daughter like how she's really feeling about the things that like they're butting heads with, and like try to get to the root of it, but I didn't really know how to like vocalize it as what I was trying to say. So I just think it's cool that now I'm coming here and seeing this, and then I have it in my head like that I'm going to tell her to like, check out these books and see if it resonates with her, and maybe it's something that like they could do together that could help.
Yeah, I think that
That's
when they're
excellent.
butting heads like that, the parent's probably not going to like me saying this, but she's not hearing the child.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
she admits to me that she has some trouble with that. She's very like disciplinarian, and she wants so much better for her daughter than like she had, but she's
Mhm.
I feel like she's like a little bit suffocating
Well,
the
yeah,
daughter.
because she's trying to force how she wanted her life to be on another soul, which is not the same. We don't have the same soul path. We all have a different one. So I see that a lot, the parent living through the child. And it's never going to work. They're going to push
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
right off. Or the
Yeah.
child ends up obeying and then ends up in something they hate.
Yeah. It's also a very challenging time. 11-year-old girls it's hard for everyone. So tell her to kind of give herself a break too.
Yeah, exactly. Like just leave. Yeah, back off.
I can just say that from experience.
Yeah,
But
sometimes you just got to
it's
back off, have some fun, and
yeah.
just connect. But yeah, you're right. The books
I,
would be great for her. I will
I
put
wish
them.
I had
I
those
will put them
tools.
in the chat. I will put their connection on there, and I'll put them.
Yeah.
I can send them to you if you want with the and some of the feedback. We got a lot of video testimonials from parents, teachers, educators,
That's
everyone,
excellent.
therapists, so people can listen for themselves and see if it resonates or not. But every book
Excellent.
that everybody purchases, goes back into from our site. Yes, it's on Amazon, but please do support the foundation website because Amazon takes 50% and we get print more books so we can give it freely to children that can't afford it.
Mhm.
And I sign them personally and I leave a message inside of them. And so, yeah.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And I'm going to put all the information in the portal also, and I'll put it on when I post the YouTube video so people can access it easily.
No, you're
So
welcome.
I'm so grateful that you came on and we got to spend time with you. And I loved getting to know you even more. And I look forward to continuing getting to know you and your work. I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping right before we close. Okay.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you so much, Pam.
Yes,
It's
you're
been
welcome.
great. It's been great to meet you. It's great talking to you. I felt like I've known you before. So it's definitely a
Yeah.
soul connection. And thank you for everyone listening and for everyone that shares our stories or reaches out. But yeah, I appreciate your listening to us and taking time out your day to listen to an English lady go on. But yeah,
You're so
thanks
welcome. Well,
so
we
much.
can listen to you all day. You're so welcome.
Thank you. I just want to say
Yes.
thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
You're so welcome. So for everyone who's watching on the replay, Terri is a member of our community. You can reach out to her directly through the portal, ask her any questions, just say hi. You can also find her at terri-allen.com. You can find out more about our foundation at angelsoflightonline.com, and you can purchase her books at angelsoflightonline.com/shop. There's a lot of resources on her YouTube channel, so you probably should check that out. I'll also post this. It's Terri Allen 9628, and you can get a variety of guided meditations as well. So just some things that are coming up. I want everyone to know if there's something you're interested in learning about and hearing about, you need an expert, we can find someone. So send an email, support@spirit-calling.com. Happy to help. And then we have some exciting events coming up. I already talked about Nicole's mass meditation on the last Sunday of every month. She does a mass guided meditation. It's this Sunday at 4:11 Eastern Standard Time. So it's September 24th. And she is going to guide, I would say, the masses, whoever joins in a meditation session. And to help experience conscious growth and prioritize your well-being. And she's posting. She said, thank you. And next
because I
month,
was just
Wednesday,
now
October.
reading, so I just thought, let me just
Yeah.
say thank you before something goes off. Yeah.
Of course. So next month, Wednesday, October 4th, we have a special guest and community member, Candy Haza. She's awesome. She's going to be leading us in an Akashic Record block release session. So we're going to be reading Akashic Records, which helps you define your soul's purpose, your internal passion, and your aligned abundance. You have to come prepared with questions. She does it on the spot. So don't miss this opportunity. Get yourself ready. It's going to be live. Mark your calendars. It's going to be an amazing session. And then on October 18th at 6 p.m., we're going to feature Rafael Andrade. So he's going to talk about his Live the Call spiritual experience. Rafael built technologies. He was an independent contractor, worked for AT&T and Verizon, and he just didn't feel passionate about his work. And he left everything. He had a beautiful, lucrative career. He left everything to start a wellness company and to follow his spirit. So he's going to talk about that. He's a friend of mine, a past client of mine, and I'm really excited to present him. And then coming up this winter in November, we have Susan Coleman. Susan's a certified spiritual life coach, a somatic educator, yoga therapist, dancer, and author. She's going to be teaching about somatic intelligence and awakening through the body. And then in December, we're going to be building abundance and prosperity crystal grids in a workshop because we want to set up our 2024 for success and prosperity. So we've got a lot coming up. So make sure that you check out the events. They're all going to be posted soon. And I'm really excited about that. I'm excited to see you all there. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. Terri, again, thank you. We're really grateful for your time. And until next time.
To stay up to date on everything on Spirit Calling, follow us on our social media platforms. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. You can support us by going to spirit-calling.com and joining our membership community.